You ever wonder what a single object, just one thing, can tell us about the world? Well, it turns out a whole lot more than you'd think. We're about to go on a little journey, deconstructing this one book, piece by piece, to unlock a massive debate about faith and reason that's been shaping our world for over 700 years.
So, here it is, an academic book from Alexandria, Egypt. Now, the title translates to Ibn Taymiyyah and his position on philosophical thought. Just from those few words, you can almost feel the tension, right? The battle lines are being drawn for a huge intellectual showdown. So let's break down who the key players are.
All right, first up, the man himself, Ibn Taymiyyah. To really get what this whole debate is about, we've got to start with the person right at the center of the storm. The title page itself is like our map, our first set of clues. Let's zoom in on the most important part of this, because it's the key to understanding why this guy was such a big deal. Okay, so everything, and I mean everything, hinges on this one name, Ibn Taymiyyah. He was this towering and, often very controversial Islamic scholar back in the 13th and 14th centuries. Don't just think of him as some writer. No, he was an intellectual force. His arguments sent shockwaves through the culture that, honestly, you can still feel today. Just seeing his name on a book promises a deep, historical conflict. So that leads us to the clash of ideas. We've met the scholar, but what was the fight really about? What was Ibn Taymiyyah so famously arguing against? And boom, the second half of the title shows us the battlefield and his position on philosophical thought. That phrase is everything. See, back in his day, philosophy mostly meant the Greek tradition, the logic of Aristotle, Plato's ideas, which had been blended into Islamic thought for centuries. But for Ibn Taymiyyah, oh no, he saw this as a huge critical mistake. This really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like two different ways of knowing. On one side, you have knowledge from Islamic revelation, the sacred texts believed to be perfect and divine. And on the other side, knowledge from Greek philosophy, which is all about human reason, logic, things you can observe, things that can be flawed. Ibn Taymiyyah's stance was crystal clear. When these two paths clash, revelation always wins. He argued that trying to use our finite human minds to understand the infinite was just a dangerous game that could lead people way off track. That was his fight. Okay, so we have the scholar and we have the debate. But who's walking us through this really complex history? Well, the book tells us that too. Our guide here is Dr. Abdul Fattah Ahmad Fouad, and his credentials, listed right there on the title page, show us he's the perfect person for the job. A professor of Islamic philosophy at the University of Alexandria. I mean, this is his exact field. So this tells us we're not just reading some random opinion piece. This is a serious academic deep dive, which gives the whole discussion a lot of weight. And this brings us to the big so what? Why does any of this matter? We've taken apart a book cover, sure, but why should a 700-year-old fight about theology and Greek philosophy mean anything to us today? Well, here's the thing. This question, it never really went away. Because when you strip away all the history, all the specific names and dates, you get down to this universal, timeless question. What is the relationship between faith and reason? This isn't just a debate from 14th century Islam, come on. It's a fundamental tension that echoes through every single culture and every single era. It shapes how we all try to make sense of the world and our place in it. And that's the real power of just a single object, isn't it? We started with a book cover from Egypt, and by just decoding the title, we've swung open a doorway into one of the biggest, most timeless conversations in all of human history, the search for truth itself. And ultimately, this whole debate isn't just some historical thing. It's incredibly personal. The question this book poses is one we all face. How do we balance what we believe with what we can prove? How do you, personally, navigate that space between tradition and reason? That, right there, is the enduring power of this 700-year-old argument.